for our development tab to vanish. I don't think I can figure out the reason right now. So what we are going to do is actually go back to our manage.py and then just try to start our new server. Let's just start it, and we're going to hover over to that of the Python shell again. Then after that, we're going to import the, this is going to be Python. So let me just know if I can get that Python manage.py shell, simple as that. So after that, we're going to import our model that is going to, okay, so I can say from our blog page, blog_page, the models. I want to import our post, because the post was actually what I've actually done this in multiple times. So let me also import this of the user, because we're going to make use of this user, because each post is going to have a particular user name. So let me just go down and just give this a little bit of space. I wonder why the reason for this to vanish all of a sudden. So the next one, I'm going to want to learn how to actually create a post. Let me actually set a particular user. Is going to be that of the user. We'll actually learn how to do all these things. So we're going to be user.objects, going to be objects.what or, and then that of the, I want to actually make that of index one. This one is going to be that of the John, like we have seen earlier. So the next thing we want to do, since the user is now going to be held by John, or if you don't want to do it, you can just specify the user. Want to, when you call the user, then you give it this of the indexing. So and that of the create a post, you can set to give it p, and we are going to make use of that of the post model. Remember, the post model takes that of the author as the first argument. So I'm going to set that of the author, and what I'm going to give that of the author is going to be, I can set it to that of the user, and then after that we have the title. We can set the title to something like, you can say John's CLI first title, and then for that of the content, we can give it, make sure to end with this of the quotes. So I think that should be here. Then after that, for that of the content is going to be John CLI, and see first content. So let me move this a little bit up. Content, so I think that settles it, and then I think that settles it. Let me go back. I've closed the uses. Because everything seems to be working well. So now our post model is required that of the author field, which we gave it that of user we actually got, that of the title, and that of the content, that of the title content. We can see the reason we didn't give it that of the date, and the reason is basically simple. That is because date is going to be auto generated by itself. So I'm going to hit enter. So I'm going to say p.save, just simple, as we're going to save the post that has actually been created. So you can see we didn't actually get any error, and there I can see some changes we actually made this of our file. If you are actually fast in looking at some changes we actually made. So the next thing I want to do is actually to query to see all the posts that we actually created. So you can see post is going to be post the now it's going to be objects the what or. So we're going to say our post, simple as that. Now we can see there are now two posts. The first one is going to be Ezee's first title on admin panel. And we now have another one post. The title was John CLI first title. So you can see how simple this was actually to create multiple try to create actually a post, not multiple posts. So you can to create a particular post of your choice by giving it all the required parameters. You can see that John, like how we actually set it, that John was actually the user that's actually being created, because we know that John was actually the guy that's going to be here. So a situation whereby one date to actually have that of the maybe a particular user, want the user to enter, instead of setting it to John, you can actually just take this user and also set it by making use of that of the F string to actually achieve this. There are so many ways to actually do it. So for this of the post that was actually created, we can actually check for more information on that of the title. So we can see our post index what. Next, I want to look at this John guy. I want to look at that of the content. Is that of the content. I see the content was actually John CLI first content. So you can see that what. Let me look at the author that actually created that of the post, because that mobility page. You can see the user was actually joined. You can see how simple we can actually perform some of all this information that's actually easy. So next thing we are going to do, since we have actually seen our model and we actually made migrations to actually migrate it, actually let it be on our database. So and we've actually registered our model that way we went to inside admin to actually register our post model here. Remember that also we're still going to come to create another with my other model, which is going to be relating to that of the image. If you wondering why I didn't set the image, the way image actually works is quite a little bit complex compared to just normal input view. So what we're also basically going to do next is actually to go to this other views. Rather than using this or the dummy data that exist here, which we are not actually interested. So let's get our server running. So I can say Control C. So how do I end this? So I can say clear. Okay. I think I've forgotten how to even close this. So let me just go to our monitor.py, run it again. This other server that's actually running was the second time the main website that we are trying to create. I just gave it a different port to actually run. So why this guy run on that of the port? It has got to be Python monitor.py one server. So this is the first site that we're actually trying to create. This port was actually port 811, and for the second one was that of the 127 and port 8000. Like we can actually see why it is now. What is taking a whole lot of time to actually run. This was actually port 8000. Let's actually see that we can see port 8000 that actually exists here. So let me connect to the internet because some of the files here requires initially to, you can see since the main site actually targeting make use of bootstrap also, like how we saw here. So we need to be connected to the internet for the first time to actually get the information rendered properly the way we actually do want. So all that will be just to connect to internet, simple as that. So the internet, let's actually refresh this. Also refresh the main target we're trying to know website we're trying to target. You can see the beautification actually came out. So let's actually join this activity. So next one to actually do is actually, instead of using this of the dummy data we have, using on this of our views we're going to actually make use of that information that's actually being stored. Instead of remember the way I setting our information is going to be saved as the variable is going to be in form of the post. I can see the key. So what we are going to do here, I'm going to import out of the post model that we have. So since this is in the same file, I think that's the same file, that's the model. So you can see from that of the models, import what post model. So instead of this of the post I have, you are going to say that of the post. That this is some of the commands we have actually learned earlier. So we're going to say post the what objects the what simple and I think if we got everything right, this should run successfully. Go back to our web page and refresh it. This information here is going to vanish. You can see Ezee key, which was the profile, Ezee key's first title on admin panel, and how that of the John CLI first title, and how what we actually created, and John CLI first content, date, and the way we actually wanted it. Remember that I was able to achieve this because in my home my station I'm going to make use of that of the author variable title content date posted, so like this on the model.py. So that's why I initially have to set it to this, so I don't need to actually change it again. So in the station by use something like authors, your model.py, make sure to set your authors there. So but just when you wrap your head around this, not how to actually understand. Let me get rid of this. So created worked of the models and also do a lot of things to actually display information from our models to our web page. So now when we look at this of our website, we're going to have what is called home, about, login, register, out of the create, which is create post, logout, and I think there's a lot of them. So first of all, we're going to display all the buttons that we're basically going to use as of now in our in our page.html, which is going to be that of the create post, and for that of the, because when we look at this, what we're having now, since the user is not being logged in, we are going to have either user can register or log in. But when you log in, these two guys are not going. What is now going to display that actually if you want to log out or if you want to create a post. But in our situation, we're going to actually create all those buttons, and then when we come to that of the when we can hide a particular button for a particular when the user have registered, when the user is logged in, we're going to hide some of that button. So to do this, I'm just going to copy and paste and so remember to achieve this is just this kind of simple, like the way we actually this is what I actually pasted from here down, which is going to be a create post button, which is a button going to be a say danger outline, blah, just by making use of a lot of the bootstrap classes. So you can see that when I reload this, we're going to have an extra button that's going to appear here. Okay, sorry, this is not this. Okay, so you can see how the home about create post and logouts, login, register. When you hit on any of them, they are actually dead link. They don't actually because when you look at them, we have these. No, they are not going actually anywhere. So the first thing we are going to do is actually to learn how to actually when we click on this create post, where we can actually create a post. To actually make it, we are going to make use of this of the models that were. Let me remove this of the about. I'm going to admin. We actually need admin as of now. I'm going to get rid of the admin setting. I'm going to get rid of the settings. So let's just work with this what we have here. So we are going to create a template for that of the post that once it's going to display. When you click on it's going to display a website separate website link that where you can actually create a post. But before that, we're going to learn how to actually create forms because we're going to fund this of the models that we have. We're going to know when you want to create something, when you want to create a particular post, you must have that of the author, that of the title, and that of the content. So these three guys are the input field that we're definitely going to create. And to do this, since my previous video when I talked about how to in my previous Django tutorial, make use in my previous Django tutorial, we're able to create forms. So if you have not watched it, make sure to check it out. So this won't be really complicated for it's going to be really simple. So to create forms, since we don't actually have any form here, I remember that any form files here that name forms. Remember that this form we are going to create is not a must you have to create. You can just come to this audio view files and just write it. But for me, for my sake, just to make the my code look neat, so I can just come here and create my forms. I can come to this is going to be a file. So say forms.py. This is where our forms is going to live. This is where we're actually going to actually for that of our for our post because when we click on when we go to this of the for our log when we click on create post we actually get that of the title and that of the content where we can actually set it. But the problem right now is that even though we have to create a post form a post form that somebody can actually enter, there's a problem because they actually going to the post must have an author like how we specify the and the post to have an author has to be logged in user. So for that to have to be logged in user, they also have to be a registered user. Hope that is not hard to understand. And so what we are going to do next is do first that's to create a register page. I can say a register template like how we can say we click on this register. So we're expecting to get something that look like the way we can actually tell somebody to register. So hope that is not hard to actually understand. So we're going to go back in this of our form. So we're going to actually from Django, we're going to inherit from a whole lot of forms. So we're going to see from that of the Django that we have. Django we want to import what forms. I think that is it. And also from our Django, we want to import that of user because our user have to be connected to that of the registered user, maybe a logged in. So we're going to have that of the Django the what contrib the what the auth the what models. Want to import that of the user, and the next model I want to import is the user creation form. User creation form is not a must have to import it, but this is kind of Django creation form that you can create some property that of the username, that of the email address, that of the password one, that of the password two. That you also can hear for that of the first name, last name, or middle name. So that's what this user creation form is going to do for it. To import it, I'm going to say for that of the Django that we have, Django that what contrib the what auth I think that dot forms want to import what I'm going to I think that was user creation form. So that's user creation form. So Django tend to make a whole lot of things a little bit simpler for us. So in this case, we know we're also going to make it out of the post model we actually add. So we need to actually import it. Nobody are not basically going to make use of it now. So I'm going to say from our models, we want to import. Let's say this the models. The models we want to import our what push. So next one, the last thing I want to try put is that of the model form, because that of model form is going to structure our form in the right way. So you can say from our Django, so that's Django forms, import our model. This is our model. That's supposed to be our model form, yeah. So the other option to choose, but I think this model form is going to do most of the work. So with this, I've actually imported all the physical forms that we need to actually inherit from that and we'll get this for our forms the creation and that of the register and that of the login. That's the forms we're actually going to create. So let's go for that of the register. This Django makes use of that of the class model. So we can actually give it any name, which is actually user register form. Remember that I can give it any name of your choice, and it's going to head from this of the user creation form. User creation form, we saw a sample where we did for that of the create super user that asks us for our username, email, and data password, one and password. So we're going to do similar things. So we're going to create a class. We're going to be meta user Django structure. So we're going to say that our model is going to be connected to that of the user, and then the fields that we want, which is the that is supposed to be fields. The fields that we want to exist in that our form is going to be list. The first one is going to be our username. After that, the next one is going to be that of the email, and the other one is going to be that of the password. Password one is the first password, and then password two is going to be the confirmation and password. Don't worry, Django tend to provide also going to be password two. Django is going to this is other fields that want to tell someone that want to register on our site. This information are actually requesting from that person: username, email, password one, and then for the confirmation password, which is aside that of the password two. And then the main thing, we just connected the model to that of the user. Remember that this user is more like a entire book that actually have that of the anybody that actually registered on our site to actually this is just the basic idea. They have the whole record of everybody that registered on our site. So the next one to do for that of user login. So we can say our class. So and when somebody a user is done register, so that's a good idea for to do for that of the login also. So for that of the login, so we're going to have user can give it any name of your choice. You can say user, which is going to be login form. The user login form. Remember, I can give it any name of your choice. So it's also going to inherit from that of this of the user creation form also. So we're going to make use of some of the few fields that this user creation form actually does. So we're going to have that of the class is going to be that of the method, and then we're going to have the fields, and the fields are going to be. So once someone want to actually I say login to our website, I can see this login. I'm expecting to have this username and password, and for that of the register, I'm going to have that of username, email, password. This is password one, and for that of password, this password confirmation. Django, this is actually Django template. This is basically what we actually did here. So it's actually create this type of form, which is actually for that register, and for that of the login, that's basically what we actually create here. So it's going to have that of the username and that for that of the password one. So I think that's correct. So this is the username and that of the password one. So if we are set to set password two, then I try to tell somebody to actually confirm his or her password to before a person can actually log in, which in most scenario doesn't really actually make sense. So I think that's it easy for our form, for our user register form, and for that of the login form. So what we are going to do now is actually to create a template that we are going to move these forms 2. So the first template I want to actually create is, maybe we can call it that of the, maybe, but before we actually create that of the template, we are going to actually import in our views. For this of the views, we are going to move it over to that of the template, maybe any template of our choice, but we are going to create our own template. So since we are no longer using this dummy post data, so we are going to can get rid of it. So to import is, we are going to say for that of the form, so we are going to say from dot forms that were actually that was forms. We want to import what we want to import. I think that was user creation. No, that was not, that was never user creation, that was user register form, and that of the user login. I think that was it. User register and login form, simple as that's the we have actually imported it. So right now the next we are going to actually do is to going to actually a function that that's going to, when we go to that of the URL pattern that okay, first we are going to do is for that of the user register, because that's in that, so makes sense. So we can call a function, I can call it our user underscore what register, simple as that. And it's going to, first parameter is going to be that of the request, I think user register. Hope that makes sense. You can try to give it any name of your choice, but make sure the name you are giving it doesn't really collide or messed up, or maybe collide with another name. So remember that what we want to pass is going to be that of the form. So it's going to be the form that want to pass the particular template is going to be this of the user register for, just simple as that. So create that of the context that we can use to actually move the information over, like how we actually did for this guy. So in our case, we can decide to copy similar things. It's never going to be, say here is going to be our what form, and then here is going to be our this of our user register form. Then want to actually move return it and render it a particular template. So let's render it a particular template. So the template is going to be, you can call it register I hope that's correct. Register dot what HTML. So but now I have to create a form that a HTML template that has this of the register dot HTML. So let me just go over new file. New file is going to be register dot what HTML, simple as that. So this of the register that they start to actually targeting to create. When we go to that of the register, you can see that some of all these top guys see remain. So we are going to actually extend that of our blog page, which is going to, let me just go to saying the home.html that has that, so I don't need to type that from beginning. So I need to extend that. Let me just put this. And also there's something I need to actually make use of our crazy form tags. To actually do that, I'm going to actually use this, because our form is going to really messed up. I'm going to see how our form is going to look, and we want to see how our crazy form tags is going to make it to look a little bit better. So to load it or to use it, going to have to actually load it. So load it, and when we load it, what are we trying to load, which is going to be some of our crispy underscore what form underscore tags. So just simple that. So and also, since we have actually inherited from this or extended the properties of this based of HTML, we don't need the title for anything. But if you're interested in that of the title, you can see that of the blog. Let's say blog underscore what head, and then all that of the end blog, simple as that. Now then you can set that of the title to be register. So we also have the, let me just copy this, so that of the blog body. So we can give it maybe h1 tag. We're also going to style this, so you can give it h1 tag. It's going to be, you can say register here, like how we can see. We'll go to the main side, you can see, okay, so let's just put register here. So you can say put register here. So then we have choice. So the next we want to actually do is actually to, since we're actually trying to set a form, so we need to actually create that of the HTML form tag. So to do that, I'm going to say what form, the action, we're still going to neglect this of the action, but we can just set it to our method. We want the method to be that of the post. So we're going to listen to when somebody clicks on it to check somebody made actually the post. So next we want to do is actually we want to set out that of our field set. We can see our field set. For this our field set, we are going to, we can start to style it. Give it that of the class, can give it a class which is actually Can give it that of the form underscore what group. Just a basic class that I just give it. Then we are going to actually render that of the form inside of this of our future. So we are going to come down here. We can then render our form to actually access that of the variable, or can say that of the key that we give here, which is actually that of the form. We can actually say that of the form. Simple as that. So when we, let's create a UI pattern that when we go to that of the register, and when we go to that of register, this function, this register function is going to actually, and even this register function actually gets run, it's going to actually directly call this of the register.html. So let's go to our URLs. Inside of this URL, let me just copy this as a starting point. So just paste this, because this can give it register. Yeah, that's it. And then in our views, what we wrote in our views, I think that was somewhere around here. In our views, so we don't make mistake. All that of the user register is going to be in our. Let me just close it down. Yeah, we're going to run this use the register, so we're going to have register, that's for what page, just simple as that. So let's actually go to our server. It's our main page. We run that. Okay, our server tends to be reloading. Let's actually reload that again, and then we'll go to /register. Simple as that. Template syntax error at register, admin list, admin modifier, admin URLs, register template syntax error. Okay, let's go down a little bit. Crispy font type not register type, like one of the why the load crispy. I think this should be forms also. Crispy forms, crispy form. Let's go back up a little bit. They have crispy forms tag. And what do we write here? This crispy forms. We need to actually put S here to actually get it. I think that should fix their problem. Let's actually run this. I think this actually fixes it. You can see that our register template is actually being messed up. And also, we didn't actually add the CRFS token. This actually add extra layer of security to our input field. To do this, we are going to make use of this dictionary braces and that of the percentage sense. We are going to say CSRF underscore what token, simple as that. So let's actually go back, load our page. Okay, CRS token expected end block. Did you forget to register or load this tab? Why do I get this kind of thing? Let's actually go back to wherever we can debug this really. Okay, I think that should be underscore, not just. I do not know if you can see everything seems to be working well. You can see how messed up this our register is. But let's actually, with help of this of the crispy form tag, we can actually get things really better, to make it a little bit better. I can make use of this of the filter, which is this bar sign, and that of the crispy to make use of that of the crispy. Remember that we've actually loaded our crispy form tag there. By making use of that of the crispy, there are many ways to actually beautify our form by saying that in that of P, I think also such a with our page. I think, why did everything get vanished immediately? Let's go back. I think there are a whole lot of them, but the best I think is actually make use of this of the Crispy guy that makes things a little bit nicer. You can see make use of this Crispy tend to make things a little bit better. You can see that of the email. Let me zoom this back a little bit. Let me zoom it inside. How the username, the email, the password confirmation, because the register, all the information will actually set on this form, the username, the email, password. Well, let's say I moved the out of the password, the one before that of the email. I'm going to see that actually take effect. So let's do that. The server say trying to reload. Let's actually reload again. You can see username, password 1, password 2. I wonder why that didn't actually take effect. But let's just leave it the way it was. Well, on the default, this is how Django expects us to actually set it. There's no way username, I get password 1 and then email. That's not really the best case scenario. So this is actually this of our things were registered on templates. We have actually made things really beautiful. What we want to do next, we're actually going to style it, because we're going to make use of that of the CSS. We have actually learned how to make use of CSS by going to this of our static folder, and then we can actually style it the way we actually want it to be. When we go to the main website that we're trying to target, when we go to that of the registered, as you can see here, we have this kind of sign up button, and then you have this already have an account, you can start to sign in. So that let's actually do that. So what we want to do is actually to create I think that's going to be a button. So create a button. So that button is going to have that of the sign up. Let's actually go back. Did that actually take effect? Okay, you can see sign up button here. The sign up button took effect. So we're going to add that of the text that actually, which is actually already have an account, sign in. So with that, for that of the already have an account, you can make it a small text. You can then give it already have an account. Since that already have an account, that should take effect. So okay, this was it. You can see already have an account. Although we're still going to just to start it. It will be so that already have an account, you can create an anchor tag, which is you can say a link, and then the text is going to be, you can say sign in. Simple as that. Let's go back to our web page. Under can see already have an account, sign. How simple that was actually to create. Now our register page is now looking more like what we have here. What was meant for us is to make use of Bootstrap, make use of CSS to actually style this a little bit more. So I'm going to do for that of the login, since the login is going to be a little bit similar to that of the register. Login is going to be similar to that of the register. So let me just copy this register as a starting point. So here is going to be, can say user what log. Yeah, simple as that. Here is going to be this of the login form that we actually created earlier. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it. So I don't think I need to. So here is supposed to be actually that of the form. So here is supposed to be that form that we actually, since this form variable is holding that of the user register form, so we can just set the form here. So here this will be form also. So sorry for that of the register. So it's always a good idea. This is why I stored it in this of the variable, so to be easily be accessible. So here is going to be that of the login, simple as that. So you're going to be login the HTML. So I'm going to create a file. Is going to be login that was HTML. Simple HTML. We need to actually extend our base dot the HTML, because when we look at the main website we're trying to target, when we go to that of the login, we still have this base.html file structure on this. So let me just copy this. Let me just get this as starting point. We're also going to make use of Crispy to actually style it a little bit, and also we're going to make use of that of the which is called that of this start. We're going to make use of this of the. We're going to style it to make use of that of the CSS later on, so we can see that of the load underscore what static, simple as that. So we can try to give it a heading, so we can call this blog head. Then we can, at the end, we can just make sure to end it with end blog. Simple as that. Here, let's just try giving it a title, which you can call it a title login. Simple as that. For that of the blog body, this is where our main guy is going to live. Here is going to be blog body. So this title is not going to be here. Let's just get rid of it. So instead of this blog body, we are going to, let's just create a H1 tag that's going to signify that I want to, this is where we are going to log in. So we can say login here. Simple as that. So the next we also want to do, let's say we want to create a form, because basically there's going to be a form. We'll go to that of the login. That's basically going to be from the form that we actually created. So you can say that of the form. Sorry, this is to be a small letter. Is going to be that of the form. We can set the method. Let's just set the method to what and post. Set method to be post. So let me bring this down. That of the CSRF token to actually add extra layer of security. So it's going to be CSRF underscore what. This is going to add extra layer of security to our form. Here we can actually just bring form. So we're going to say our form. Simple as that. So we need to create that of the URL pattern. And then when we go to our home, when we go to that of the login, then we're going to get this HTML file is being displayed. So we're going to go to our URL, which is where our URL lives. And don't just copy the starting point, so I don't need to start from the beginning again. Here is going to be that of the login, and here is going to be user login, because that was the name we gave our function. So user login, and here is going to be what our login page. So let's go, instead of register, let's search for that of the login. Okay, let's just hold on. See, our dev server is still trying to load up. Okay, model form has no, so we're getting, where did the information, so we're having this form user login form. Where is this problem coming from? This should be from our forms. So let's go head over to our forms. Where is the problem coming from? Why we didn't actually set our models to inherit from that of the user creation form that Django already provided for us. So I think that should be the problem. Let's run this again. Okay, why am I getting this different? Okay, our test server is still running. Still trying to reload. Okay, I think everything looks good right here, but I'm getting this kind of password confirmation. Okay, so why do I have this? Let's go back to our views.py. This is actually login form, and for that of the login form, what we are expecting to have is only that of the username and password. Why am I having two passwords down here? So the another way to actually handle this is actually to target that of this particular, as you can say, this particular key of your choice, rather than just bringing it all of them out, because I think Django on a default thing too, you can see. Can let me just try to zoom this a little bit. You can see require 150 characters, a fewer for username, password 1, enter password before for verification, enter password confirmation. You can see they were expecting to enter password 1 and that of the password 2. I wonder why that's actually occurring, even though we have to set only for that of the password 1. So best way we can try to handle this kind of problem is actually to target for that of the username and also target for that of the password. We can to achieve it to be something like, which I said, this maybe something like this will be a label, and these two guys will be a label, and that of the input form and beside it. So we're going to, we can try to come here and say our label. Here we can say user name. So username. Yes, here we're going to say form the what user name. So we're going to target this username. Okay, where is that? So this was this username input field is here. So we're not definitely I'm trying to get all the values of that of the form. So we're going to actually say the same thing here. That was going to be that of the password. It's going to be password. And in case that was password 1, that was what we actually give it in this of the form, password 1. So with this, I think that was the login the so I think this should be able to solve the problem. You can see username, enter username, and what do we need to get for that of the password? We need to get form the password 1 as capital letter. This needs to be small letter. This that of form the username, form the password 1. Simple as that. Let's actually run this. You can see that we are now having what we expected, which is label is going to be this of the username with entry field, and that of the password with its own entry field. Don't worry as well, we're also going to style this to look more like this. So next one to do, we have this of the button that say login, another one that say need an account, and for that one that say sign up. To achieve this, basically simple.